Thank you, President, Commissioner. Yesterday made it clear that when it comes to security and trade, we cannot rely on the US as a partner and friend. The US will adopt politics for the super wealthy. Trump and Musk will look to enrich themselves further. Trump will reach out to autocrats, Xi Jinping and Putin. Their shared interest will be to undermine, weaken the EU and divide the EU, get rid of independent judiciary. They support the far right, the populist right, Orban, Meloni, and the Austrian mini-Trump, Herbert Kickl. The European People's Party is also helping the far right to gain power. That runs counter to the EU's principles and democratic policy. Mull over your course of action. Rejoin European democracy. Don't help these people. It will damage the EU, hurt our citizens and undermine our values. Please, a U-turn.
Domnul Waitz. There is a blue card from Mr. Smith from EPP. Do you accept?
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to ask Mr. Waitz whether he distances himself from the extreme utterances made this morning and allegations about Musk being a Nazi and using a Nazi salute, because that's not helping the US-EU alliance either. And that does not help to bring down the tone of the voice and of the tone of the debate. So how does Mr. Waitz see this? Because he's making new allegations against many oligarchs, against political groups. But shouldn't we try to avoid such extreme allegations, which are also fake news, in fact? The ADL just this morning refuted these claims.
I don't know what Mr. Musk meant with his move. But to me as an Austrian, it looked like a Hitler salute. And to many citizens, it looked like a Hitler salute. I don't know what he meant with it, and I cannot judge this. But what I see is that terms that were used in Nazi Germany and Nazi Austria are getting normalized. Our candidate for the extreme right is calling himself Volkskanzler. That's how Adolf Hitler was naming himself before he called himself a Führer. So a certain normalization of terms that we know from this time is unfortunately something I am watching. And I really seriously think that the pro-democratic parties should stick together beyond different opinions, beyond different political affiliations, but to the core of European unity, of European togetherness, and for our democratic principles. Thank you.
Mr. Waitz, if you'll accept another blue card from Mr. Baros Schaller de la Patriots for Europe. Acceptați? Acceptați?
Gerne fragen, wann haben Sie vergessen, was Demokratie bedeutet?
Have you forgotten what democracy means? Donald Trump won democratic elections in the US. Mr. Kickl won democratic elections in Austria. Hopefully, we'll see a strong Austrian government. You're not a Democrat. You are insulting voters and democracy, democratic elections. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't believe you heard what I said. I talked about how dangerous it is to give them power, how that endangers our democracy. Look at Hungary, how media freedom is restricted, freedom of opinion, independent judiciary. Look at the education system, hospitals, the economy. On its knees. That is where we're heading if Orban and his friends gain power. I don't want that.
Thank you very much. Please don't forget that blue cards are intended to put questions rather than give personal comments. Mr. Barena Arza.
Gracias, presidente.